Hi everybody, Amber here from Atomic Photography. I have my voice back, yay! That was quite a difficult week for me, not being able to speak, because as people know that I'm a very shy, retiring type. So, oh, I've got this ring on. I've just come from a wedding, so I'm just going to put this to one side. So I was a bit done up, that's why my makeup is here. And phew, what a scorcher. It is so hot in London at the moment. Our country and our houses and our buildings are not made for this kind of heat. We don't have air conditioning units and things like that, so we are just sweltering at the moment. What I want to talk to you about in this video this week is the subject of retouching and whether photo editing is something that is an acceptable thing or not, and are we contributing to negative sort of connotations and how it affects people's self-esteem, etc. Is it the right thing to do or not? And I have a view on it. I'd love to hear what your views are, and we'll get into the video in a minute. I'm looking, my makeup is melting. I'm getting really, really hot. So, right, see, look, I'm fixing my hair, right? To me, that is a form of retouch. So getting up and out of bed and in the morning, brushing your hair, brushing your teeth, doing all of these things is a form of retouching yourself. You're just doing it physically, not digitally. I guess the art of putting on makeup is a form of retouching as well. So I guess there's a couple of categories that I would put the actual editing and retouch of images into. Now, I am completely aware of how unrealistic images can contribute to a society where there's an impossible beauty standard to live up to. Just this morning on Facebook, I saw a video of a beauty blogger called Nabila, Nabila Noor, and she was getting a lot of body shaming, and you know, it's no secret that I'm a bit of a big girl as well, and I've faced that as well. And you know, how you're always being held to some sort of Eurocentric, impossible beauty standard all the time. I'm very lucky to have been brought up in a household where your looks were not your worth. Your worth lay in more than your looks. So that's how I was brought up. And being in the industry, you know, in beauty photography particularly, where clients really want a clean image to promote their products, whether that be skincare or cosmetics. It does, you know, there's been a couple of times where I've thought, you know, and I've even had these discussions with my clients about how far to take some of that digital retouch and where does that line sort of sit for a particular project, for where it's acceptable retouch and where you start to get into real image manipulation. And I think they're two different things. So photography for me is an art form, just like any other art form. I don't necessarily feel that I have to create an image that is completely true to what is raw in the camera. I'm an artist. I want to express a certain vision. Photography is a medium that lets me do that. You might be able to see some illustrations back here on my walls. I do illustration as well, so I'm a mixed media artist. I love painting too. And when I do illustrations or when I do paintings, I don't necessarily capture exactly what I'm looking at. It's an interpretation and an expression of my vision of what it is that I'm creating. I feel the same about photography. However, it's not lost on me that photography is something that captures a much, much more realistic aesthetic. Therefore, it is easy, you know, to scroll through a perfect Instagram feed and start thinking, my goodness, I don't look like that, or why don't I look like that, etc. However, we are in a artistic industry. So when we talk about retouching, or we talk about editing, or we talk about photo manipulation, and there's some camps that say we should absolutely not photo manipulate anything. We shouldn't stage things too much, and we shouldn't be liquefying features or taking away skin blemishes, and that's a really unrealistic image. Part of me agrees with that. The woman in me, the mother in me, the worry that I have for my daughter, and trying to instill in her the same way my parents did with me, that her value lays in far more than her looks. But I know that there's social pressures out there, whether it's fashion trends and styles, whether it's hairstyles, whether it's how you look. There's such an obsession with people's weight. You know, and it really, really would irk me. On the flip side of that, however, I kind of go, we retouch ourselves all the time. So, like I said, brushing my hair, putting on my makeup, the clothes that I wear, the underwear that I'll wear, slimming pants and things like that, that, you know, whatever you might do to retouch yourself, and how you present yourself to the world. We edit ourselves all the time. Bring that into a studio environment and you've got the extra layer of lighting as well. Now, the way that I light a model's skin can either cover up her blemishes or can highlight her blemishes. So if I use one key light on its own at a very harsh angle, you know, sort of 45-degree angle to her, the skin will show every lump and bump, right? So I kind of go, we're manipulating things through lighting, through our camera settings, with the makeup artist all the time. And I think there's an acceptable level in the digital workflow that then becomes acceptable to me. Whether it's a lens distortion that made somebody's jaw look bigger, so I bring it in with liquefaction, or, you know, whether I'm shooting on a lower angle, or you know, make her nose look bigger than it actually was, and bringing things back into proportion, I don't have any qualms with doing that. I'm not completely manipulating that person. That said, I do feel like my retouching style has evolved. So I think I was much heavier handed on skin retouching and on, you know, the when you first discover some of the tools in Photoshop or whichever photo editing tool you use to manipulate an image, it's actually quite exciting, because you kind of go, whoa, how far could I take it? And I think the art of subtlety in retouching and editing is really important. So like I said early on in my career, I think I was heavy-handed on liquefy, on patch tools and healing tools and clone tools, etc. And now if I look at my work, I kind of don't want really heavy makeup on a model. I don't want to completely get rid of the texture of her skin. I want it to feel normal. I don't want to have this plastic, fantastic looking feel to my imagery. And I do sometimes, I'll sit there and I'll look at beauty campaigns and I'll be like, there is no way that woman doesn't have any lines on her neck. We've all got lines on our neck, you know, and that model's probably 20 years older than me as well. And you go, you know, she's in her 60s and you've just photoshopped her to look like she's got nothing on her neck. And, you know, I'm in my 40s and, you know, I've got lines and I've got, you know, lumps and bumps, and, you know, there is something that it can be taken too far, in my opinion. But I think the backlash against completely not retouching at all doesn't sit quite right with me. I think there's an acceptable level of retouch and artistic expression that photographers should feel comfortable with. And I think it depends on your clients as well. I've had clients where they've said, no, look, I can see that blemish, I can see this, I can see that. And you kind of go, don't you want it to look real? And you can have that conversation with your client. Some clients will say, no, I want it to look like absolute flawlessness. And other clients will take it on board and actually go, no, actually, you know what, that takes it too far. And sometimes it's really, sometimes you can't put your finger on it when you're looking at a picture that's been really photo manipulated or edited. You might not, as a layperson who doesn't do retouching, you might not be able to say exactly what's wrong with the image, and wrong is relative as well, but you get what I mean, what feels off about the image. But you can tell when something's not quite right. So, if you do have a lady promoting, some sort of moisturizer, and she's in her 60s and she's got absolutely no lines on her neck, it's just not realistic. It doesn't feel quite right. So, I think you need to be able to categorize where you are in terms of who your clients are and what their needs are, having a responsibility to not promote these unrealistic, impossible standards of beauty, but also still retaining your ability to creatively express yourself through your medium and your art. And it's a really hard balance. I think there's a trade-off to be had. I don't think that we can completely absolve ourselves of the fact that we do contribute to this beauty industry and this fashion industry and how that makes people feel. However, we can try and buck some of those trends, right? So we do have a platform and we do have the means of expression. We can talk to some of our clients and we can try and bring a much more diverse expression, a diverse range of what beauty means, whether that's using ethnically diverse models, whether that's using models of different sizes, whether that is going subtle on some of the skin retouch so that people can see that, we have stretch marks and stuff, And I've seen ASOS and a couple of other brands who, they're fast fashion websites that will have models that they haven't done full beauty retouching on their skin, or they haven't removed hair from their sideburns, and they, and I kind of go, hallelujah. It's actually a really positive reaction. I think sometimes clients are too scared of showing the reality because they think that only the aspirational will sell. But those are the conversations that you can have, and those are the trade-offs that you need to have when you're thinking about your work and your retouch style, your own conscience about being in an industry that, let's face it, is worth a lot, but actually on the grand scheme of things is a bit fickle. And I think I'm not trying to rain on the parade of the industry. I love this industry. I love and I'm passionate about working in the industry, but it's, like I said before, it's not lost on me that, there are negative aspects about this industry. I think that there's a personal choice that you have to make when you enter into this industry about, how are you going to express your art through this medium, how far you're going to take your digital manipulation, your retouch, and what you want to socially put out there as a message about your work. What does your portfolio say about you? What are your values? What does your business stand for, if that's how you're doing it? What do you stand for if you're a hobbyist? And, I think people forget about that sometimes. We get so caught up in sort of technicalities and gear and lenses and, lighting and how do we do the actual technicality of it. But we don't talk, I don't think, enough about some of the sort of, social responsibility, the artistic expression side of it, the freedom to express yourself, the freedom to create a vision through this medium, and also values, and how you put those out there. So I'd be really interested to know your views, your take on this topic. It can sometimes be a bit of a mixed bag on this topic, but yeah, I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you enjoyed this video, if you'd like to see more like this, or you'd like me talking about something else, please let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe, it really makes a difference to my channel. I'm so grateful for everyone who's subscribed, but please do, if you're not subscribed, think about subscribing to my channel. I bring lots of tutorials, how-tos, travel videos, behind the scenes of fashion and beauty shoots, and a couple of talking heads videos like this one. I hope to see you guys soon, and take care.